like to welcome everyone to tonight's council meeting. Would you please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the meeting to order. Open roll call.
Goodell.
Here.
Slater.
Here.
Scholl.
Here.
Rusher.
Here.
Davis.
Here.
Sorry. We need a motion to approve the agenda as printed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We need a motion to approve the minutes of the May 4th, 2015 regular council meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And we need a motion to approve the April treasurer's report.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Under communications, anything from the public in attendance this evening? If not, Clint. Talk about People Service Monthly Report.
Good evening, everyone. Start with the, on the water side, we had our leak detection guy come up this year a couple weeks ago and hit some different areas and found, I'm guessing between 7 to 10 different areas. I think 5 of those were on city mains, and there's 3, maybe 4 on, that are on private services. And I did give, I think it was Corey, I think it was, yeah, I gave her the addresses for to send letters out like I wanted to do, to them to address those issues. And we have started, I think we've got two of the mains fixed in there, 2 inches, and I think the one on Fifth Avenue South is between 2 patches, I think, and we did another patch between the patches, so that's that's an old 2-inch galvanized line down there, just old.
What happens if we send a notice out to a private citizen and we don't find a leak, kind of like we just did down by the junior high last week when they did
Yeah,
that?
yeah, I don't know.
Is it still the
I don't know.
responsibility of people if it isn't on their property or not?
Well, that's the thing, I think that if we make somebody dig and there's not actually a break there, then that falls, I wouldn't say it falls on the city.
I was just curious on what we did there.
If there is, but most of these, if it's a service, you can normally see water.
Yeah.
There's water around
Right,
it,
right.
so,
Oh, just,
I mean, is that the council's thoughts on?
I just didn't know what we.
No, I would
what
agree
we
with
did,
that.
yeah.
I mean,
You know, if we dig and don't find anything,
that's a problem I don't wanna run into.
right.
If we do run into a situation where we get a dry hole from digging on that.
Is it the landowner's, I believe it is, landowner's responsibility all the way out to the main now? Because I know years ago it used to be to the curb stop. It included the curb stop.
For sure.
Yeah, it's all the way to the main.
It's all the way to the main.
Yeah.
And so what we did when we allowed plastic was beyond the curb stop. Everything from the curb stop in still has to be copper because that's underneath the road, and then everything out can be.
From the main to the curb stop.
Yeah, from the
Still
main
has
to
to
the
be
curb
copper.
stop, still has to be
Right.
copper, but from that point forward,
Right. Can be
it was about
plastic.
4 years ago, we got plastic.
Right.
The punch list, talked about it earlier, that's coming up, we're still working on that, so. Hopefully IPT is gonna be in, possibly this next week, they've got some items, and Lance has been talking back and forth to them on getting into, finish up some of these little items.
I've come to the conclusion that punch list means if you don't get it done, you're gonna get punched.
Yeah, it's,
Because it seems like our punch lists go on and on and
Yeah,
on for
yeah.
every project we have.
yeah, you're right.
Yeah, not just the water
No,
plant.
no,
But-
right.
The sidewalk, I mean, you name it.
The wastewater way back in 2000.
Everything,
was the same.
yeah.
It didn't seem like it ever was gonna end,
Right.
so hopefully like.
It makes more sense with the water plant than it does some of these other ones, you know, so really
Yeah, I
likes
can
a few
understand, you know,
panels.
the equipment and stuff, but
Mhm.
sidewalk and that kind of stuff,
That's infuriating.
that's unacceptable.
Right. But we are, like I said, working on that. Springside's up and running now, so we're hoping, fingers crossed, so we can shorten our 2 shifts into possibly 1 shift. So, but we're still experimenting around a little bit with that. But hopefully this next month, we're gonna give it a try. And the weekend person will have a 12, 13-hour run probably, but it just depends on the summer and the demand and everything, so. But it's all starting to come together, so.
Are the 2 towers good now, are they?
Yeah.
Talk
Yep,
well,
they're-
and
Yep,
that's what
yep,
we're finding.
they're, you know, valves are doing what they're supposed to do, and there was one in the south tower, there was guys found it didn't close, I think it was in the hand position. That was a matter of them, they gotta change, I think it's might be some software, they gotta reprogram that, so. But no, otherwise, everything was working real good, and we were able to stretch the run times a little shorter out to, I think they shut down between 9 o'clock at night and then start up at 6 in the morning, give or take a little bit, so.
Any more computer problems, or is that kind of?
They're always there. Yeah, a lot of these little alarms are fixing, and we can fix them as we go, so. It's just kind of an ongoing process, so. Let's see, wastewater, and we jetted a little bit of some 8-inch lines, and had a lot of locates due to the boring in town. And that, we got the firefighters, I think I said the last time, back up and running. The west one, we've taken that offline, so we'll be getting down in that before long and making any repairs on that. The Luchaject was out 2 weeks ago, or a month ago. They burned the weeds off. They were gonna try to hit the spring window, but they didn't for that, so I don't know however you, because I think that was in this year's budget, and I know we're not gonna get it.
It's actually what the next public hearing's on, is the budget amendment, so.
Oh, okay.
That'll be
So it's
an
already
amendment
being
in
there.
the
Okay,
future
okay.
budget.
Yeah, because they, obviously with the spring window, I knew it was gonna be tight, but they just didn't get it, so.
Is that fine with those burnt off?
Oh, yeah, that's fine, yeah.
Is it still, are you just
No,
gonna?
they're
regrowing?
They're regrowing
Yeah.
already, so.
I just saw the email from the DNR with Fox Engineering about the issues that, is it not Clive, one of the other communities is having with getting rebeds to regrow, and so,
Yeah.
I can't remember who it was that came up and took a sample
Yeah,
from
there
our
was,
reeds.
actually, we've had, I think the city of Owine's been over here 3 or 4 times in the past few years, and Swamp showed them what we did, and city of Atlantic, they've been up here.
Atlantic, that's it.
Atlantic
Yeah.
2 or 3 times, and they're having issues, came up and just want to see what we're doing, and there's one other one somewhere else, Waverly, quite a few years ago, was wondering too, so.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know, we're doing something right, so, but they're having troubles getting them established and growing, so.
With the rains last weekend, how was it?
Oh,
Pumping
yeah,
station,
pumps,
where
handled
we at?
everything good, I did get the other one, the check valve fixed on
Right,
that.
I heard
so-
Aaron said that he got
Yep,
that going.
I was up and running, we were running, the light pump was on, they were on for 2 days maybe, and I was back down today, down to 1 pump running, so. It was running about 16, 1800 gallon a minute through, so, but it handled it good, so.
No storm, no sewer issues or anything with the
Nope.
last rains and stuff
Nope,
we've had
nope,
anyways?
we had a couple power outages at the water plant, but the generator kicked in, did fine. Never even noticed, the wastewater did too, but kicked in and powered everything back up and ran fine, so. There's only just 2 outages, 1 in each place, so that was, everything's running good, so. Hopefully we won't get any more rain, but, oh well. Good, that's pretty much it, unless you got any questions or comments.
Thank you, Clint.
Yep, thank you.
We'll move on to a public hearing then. This being the time and place for the scheduled public hearing on the proposed fiscal year 2014-2015 budget, I'll open the public hearing at 5:40 p.m.
Do you wanna
I'll just summarize what the published budget amendment is. In revenues, we are just changing, in intergovernmental, we're adding $111,100. In miscellaneous revenues, $23,000, and in other financing sources, $45,000, for a total of $179,100 increase in revenues. Bringing the total revenues after the budget amendment to $12,812,786. In the expenditures by program, we're amending our public safety budget, adding $33,800 to that. Public Works, $91,500. Culture and Recreation, $70,500. Community and Economic Development, $15,000. General Government, $26,125. Debt Service, $12,000. Capital Projects, $1,905. And again, we talked about that at the last meeting, that's mainly timing issues with the water plant project is the main issue there. In business type enterprises, we're increasing that budget $189,150, and so our total expenditures will increase by $2,343,075. Then there's also a transfer in there that is from the local option sales tax into the Sumner Avenue Bridge Fund to cover part of the cost of the bridge. That'll be the additional, for now, to cover part of the cost of the bridge. So that will bring our total expenditures an increase of $2,843,075, and our total expenditures after this amendment to $16,209,495. So that's it in a nutshell. Does anyone have any questions that you have the breakdown of what each of those accounts is?
Well, most of that's due to overrun from the 2013-14 budget to 15-16.
Right, just the timing, yep,
Just the
because the
timing, yeah.
2012 water plant project is
Right.
still going on.
Correct, yeah. The punch list again.
The punch list, well,
Yeah, and I mean, it's exactly like what Clint said, you know, what we'll do in the amendment is make sure that we've got room, you know, walk back anything you've got way too much money in, but make sure you've got room if there's a project, and then what ends up happening is you end up paying it in the next budget year, and then you've got to amend that budget.
Right.
So, kind of continues to roll a little bit.
Any other comments? Do we have any written comments or objections on file?
no, we don't.
Do we have any comments or objections from the general public in attendance this evening? There being no more comments or objections on the proposed fiscal year 2014-15 budget amendment, I will close the public hearing at 5:43 p.m. Skipping the new business one.
I guess the next item is the four-way stop, and the reason that's, the DOT stated that there's no way that the four-way stop's going to stay, so it seems like a moot point. They also have backed away from their 3-lane proposal for Humboldt. They were pushing that hard, but they looked at the crash history and said, you know, actually the four-way works pretty well here. It doesn't work, in their mind, it doesn't work very well in a lot of places, but they felt it worked well here. So,
Questions? Next up, we need a motion to authorize Mosquito Control of Iowa to conduct a mosquito spraying program within the city of Humboldt for the 2015 season. Residents requesting prior notification of spraying can sign a pre-notification, no spray register at Humboldt City Hall.
Any Rich is here to talk about.
Looks like a good year for mosquitoes.
Yeah, there might be a few of them anyway. I guess basically just, we haven't been doing a meeting here for a long time, so just wanted to come if there was any questions or anything like that. I can go through a whole program and just make it very simple. So, if you got any questions, we can start that way.
We roughly do 4 sprayings, is it, Rich, or how many do we?
No, usually it's, it varies depending on the year.
Okay.
We kind of base our programs on about 8 sprayings for a year. The reason why is if it's a really dry year, we might only do 5 or 6. If it's a really wet year, we might do 10 or 12. But like you guys in many towns, once they come on, they stay on for a long period. It balances out. If we did it each year, they'd have to do budget amendments, if we're going up or going down. This way, it works out well for everybody, so.
Are you guys still using the plane? I know we haven't, but last several, I think all
No.
last year was truck, so.
Yeah, we pretty much went primarily back to trucks. The reason why, when we were doing the aerial spraying, we were getting failure night after failure night. And we'd have 1 mile an hour, 2 mile an hour winds on the ground, but 200 foot up in the air, we were having 10, 15, 20 knot winds. Well, anything over 10 knot wind, you can't do aerial spraying in. And then the meteorological system in the plane was compensating for the stronger winds up there, so it was basing this way outside of town or outside the area. By the time it came down, got to the kill zone, there was no winds, it wasn't drifting right. So we just pretty much put the plane away for emergency situations only, large flooding events or big disease outbreaks, stuff like that. It's still available, but it costs, $80,000 to $100,000 a year just for insurance and annual inspections, stuff like that. So we're not really using it unless we need to bring it out. But it's sitting out here at the hangar at the airport, and it can be at the shop and up in the air in 3 days if needed, so.
Definitely helps. So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Next, we need a motion to approve a request from Dodgen Industries for a street closure from June 9th through June 12th, 2015 for a special event.
The street closure, give me a chance.
Same one as always.
The street closure is the same as it always is. Just in the letter, he highlighted it's about 120 RVs, so it's a pretty large event. And you can tell how packed it is there, so pretty impressive.
Need a second.
Oh, yeah. Second. This one we're close down.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next, discussion and possible action on a proposed development agreement for Mitch Verhulst.
Mitch is going to construct a $500,000 retail building for his shop and start a hardware business in the same building. He's requesting to proceed with the building prior to the signing of a development agreement. And I informed him he'd be eligible for the normal 5-year 100% down to 20% tax rebate, but that he needed to come to the council to get this prior approval. It's the same thing we've done with Baumgars. I think one other development agreement we did it with, where there's no binding agreement. By telling him this, we're not committing that we're going to, that it absolutely is going to happen. It's just saying we'll do everything to consider the development agreement and get it in place, go through the legal. You can go ahead and start, and this city intends to move forward.
We did that with the elevator.
Oh, the elevator, yeah, that's it. So, I don't see anything that would come up that would, be unique enough that it would throw a wrench into the works. It's the normal 100 to 20% for expansion of an existing business.
And he's gotta do the project regardless if he gets the tax breaks or not.